Greetings everyone and welcome back. In the previous video we saw the kind of project that we're going to create in this course, and in this video we're going to start off by creating a new Vue application. So let's begin, and I'm going to create my Vue application inside my desktop here. As you can see, I already have a folder there I'm calling YouTube, and then here is where I will want to create my new Vue application. I'm going to bring in the terminal here, and then I'm going to issue a new command that's going to help me create the new Vue application. And I'm going to have the npm create, and then I'm going to have the Vue art latest, and that should scaffold for me a new Vue application. It's gonna ask me for the project name, and I'm going to say Vuetify. That will be my project name. Add TypeScript. I do not want to have TypeScript for my project from now. No, I do not want that. Yes, I would want to have the Vue router, and yes, I would want to have the Pinia state management. And vtest, I do not want to have any testing at this moment. And then end-to-end testing, no, I would not want to have that, nor do I have to have the ESLint. And that scaffolds the new Vue application. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the new Vuetify folder that has already been created inside the VS Code. So for me to do that, I'm going to get into the Vuetify folder that has already been created, and here I'm going to bring in the folder into the VS Code. I'll be using VS Code from Microsoft. You can use just any other text editor that you would want to use or that you've already been using before, but for me, I'm going to stick with the VS Code. And now we have a new Vue project here. This default the Vue project that is created out of the box. And if we go throughout the folder structure here, you can see that we have our assets, and it's going to store our static files, and then we have our components here, and we're going to have our components stored in this folder here. We'll revisit this later. And then we have our router here. As you can see, it's routing the paths that we have. We have the home for the default path here, and then we have some other about page here. All right, and then again we have the store. Remember, the Pinia that we installed is being instantiated here. All right, and now it's creating a new store here from Pinia, and this is how we create a composition store using Pinia, as you can see here. All right, and then we have our views here, and here is where our pages live. All right, so we have about page, and then we have the home page here, and then we have our main application file here that is going to house all the other pages. As you can see here, it is passing the router view, and here is where all the other pages are going to be printed. All right, so and that's the folder structure. And in our main JS here, or in our main JS file here, as you can see, we are creating a new Vue application here, and then we are injecting our main app.vue here. We're giving it to the create app from Vue here, And then after that, we're going to register some of the plugins here. As you can see, we register the create pinia plugin here, and as well as the router plugin here. All right, so that's the folder structure. So let's go ahead and try to run the project. But before we run the project, as you can see here, we do not have the node modules, meaning that most of these files or plugins here have not been installed into our project. So let's just go ahead and try to install those plugins into our project, including the Vite itself. We'll be using Vite to serve our project. All right, so let's go ahead very first and say npm install, and that's going to install most or all of the plugins and other packages that we're going to be using here. All right, so it's going to take some few moments to install all the packages inside our package.json file, and then after installing that, now we can just go ahead and run the project and see if it's going to run successfully. All right, and it seems that it's finished installing all the packages, and now what I can do, I can just go ahead and try to run this project. So I'm going to have npm run dev for me to be able to run the project, and now it's run, and it's running on port 5173. So let's just go ahead here and bring in the browser. I'll bring in Chrome so that we can test the project, and here I'm going to go ahead and have localhost like that, and as you can see now here we have our project being ready here, as you can see now, and we have our router working here, and then this is being served through Vite. As you can see here, we already have Vite installed here. All right, and that successfully has already scaffolded our Vue project, and now we have it running here. But there are some of the things that we would want to change, or rather I would want to change. For example, as you can see here, if you look here, for example, if I were to go to the router here, we are having a manual routing here. What I would want to have, or what I would want to happen, is to route my pages automatically from the folder structure, so that I would not want to keep on writing on this file every time I create a new file that needs to be routed. All right, another thing that I would want to do, or I would want to achieve, is to automatically export the components that are being stored inside my components folder here. And also another thing I would want to have is to have a layout structure, so that I can have like a master layout, and then that layout is going to be extended by other pages that I define they should extend that layout. For example, if you've ever used Laravel, you know how the blade templating engine extends the files. All right, so that's the kind of extension that I would want to have in this application. And the routing also, I would want to have a routing like the one, it's like the one that the Next.js has, that I can route through my folder structure here. All right, and that's what I would want to achieve at the end of my project. So we've seen that we've installed our Vue application successfully. We're going to stop here in this video. When we come back, we'll see how we can have the routing system in place, then having the components being exported by default, and then having a better routing mechanism, and then having to get our layouts being extended by other pages. So thank you very much for being with me on this one. I'll see you in the next one while we continue building our project.